I think you do. Yep.
That's me.
Yeah.
Okay.
How about now, David?
I think we should be good now.
Yeah.
There's an echo somewhere.
I don't hear it.
All right. There was. It's not anymore. All right. I'll be back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Unhappy Gilmore.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, Slash, we ready to roll?
I'm ready when you're ready, big girl.
Hey, I see nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course you would.
All right, let's get ready to rock. Good evening, Philadelphia, and welcome into Bud Light Baseball Brunch, powered by Green Legion Radio on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. You can also listen to us in the Trenton area on 104.1 or WDAS AM around the rest of the Delaware Valley, or simply download that iHeartRadio app, and you can listen to us anywhere, crystal clear, worldwide. We are broadcasting from our Northern Liberty studios here in the Green Legion studios in Philadelphia, and we are on Thursday afternoon, so we are preparing for our Friday evening show because everybody knows we've been bumped from Sunday mornings from 11 to noon, and now
there's something going on Sundays now.
Yeah,
in the fall.
Something like that. I was still hoping we could get a Sunday show in this week because the Birds are on Monday night. So I would have thought we would have got some sort of respect around here on this program, but nonetheless,
the gambling degenerates, they still choose the other,
I get to actually
the other sport.
I choose the other sport too.
Yeah,
when it comes to gambling, but nonetheless, I'm Chris Sack of Green Legion Radio. I'm sitting alongside Super Sam Brady. It's good to have her back. We've had her in Sea Isle for most of the summer. It's the first time I've seen her in 2 months outside of a computer screen.
Mm-hmm.
Sam, how are we doing tonight?
I'm good, but I'm not on the radio.
You're not going to be on the radio at all? Okay, all right.
Well, now you are.
Yeah, hold on. Is she actually on? Can we get her on?
Yeah, she's on.
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
All right.
I'm feeling tan. I'm feeling excited. Happy that, to be back in studio, getting to see your smiling face.
Get ready to feel white and pasty yet again soon coming up, because that's the time of year that I pine for. I can't wait to be putting on the not the sweatpants, but the warm-up pants alongside of a light hoodie. You go out to the fire pit, you kick it on, you got the fire kicking around your feet, and you light up a cigar and you make a drink. It's fantastic. My favorite time of the year is fall and spring, because I hate sweating, but I also hate being overly cold. And also producing this evening, and right now is my co-host until Quimby decides to join the program, is Slash. Slash, how we doing tonight?
Doing great. Phillies are in good position, so that's the reason why Sam sees these smiling faces. But yeah, the reason she was muted was because she told me she didn't want to be on the broadcast, and I said, say less. So she was muted for that reason.
Well,
she
tried to say less.
Yeah, she did, but we didn't allow that. She's back in here. We're going to heckle her all night.
Just a little bit, especially because she's had to have been watching some baseball over the summertime.
She has to, right?
I did. I really did. I swear. I watched baseball games.
She works
for
I bet you
she saw that Chicago sweep and thought she was out. So now she can't join back in. She's a fair weather fan.
She also probably gets a lot of excessive whining and bitching on the Unhappy Gilmore show. I know Adam's been holding down the fort on his end of things, especially the last month and a half with how the Yankees have been playing.
Yeah.
But it looks like they've rated their ship as well.
They swept the Boston, right?
If they didn't, they should be smacked because Boston's a terrible baseball team.
I believe they did.
But
bad work by me.
For those of you tuning in and notice that my regular co-host on the show for Bud Light Baseball Brunch, Murph, is in here. Murph is going through some things right now. We hope to have him back next week. So, partner, if you're listening, if you're tuning in while we're recording, or if you're listening on Friday night, or you catch the program on the iHeartRadio app, simply download that if you haven't already. We're thinking about you, man, and our prayers are with you and your family, and we hope everything works out. And if you need anything at all, those of us here at Green Legion Radio and the Bud Light Baseball Brunch team, we're here for you as well. And just want to get those kind words out to him before I do my live read here, because we're presented to you in the first segment by our good friends at State Farm. Just as your local State Farm agent combines good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates, you can combine your home and auto, and guess what you'll get? That's right, good neighbor service with surprisingly great rates. In fact, State Farm agent Dave Bavuso is your go-to agent for the service you deserve at the price you want. So try combining a home and auto today. State Farm agent Dave Bavuso will help you mix and match things perfectly. Call 856-740-5012 for your surprisingly great rates. That's 856-740-5012, or you can just stop over at his location in Williamstown, New Jersey. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements. Quimmy sent me at the beginning of the year 2 live reads for State Farm and Dave Bavuso. I don't think on this show I've read the diaper one because I don't think a lot of our people can kind of, you've changed thousands of diapers, you know, we'll kind of stay status quo. I'll stick with that read.
It's weird though, because I hear Quimby read it all the time on Green Legion Radio. And I'm like,
have you changed a diaper?
Yeah. He's the last person I would go to for advice on changing diapers, let alone thousands of them.
Exactly. No doubt about it. But, listen, we're not going to do a ticket giveaway this week. And that's more something that, I like doing with Murph. It might be something where if Murph is back with us next Thursday, we'll jump back in, for our Friday night show. We'll jump back into giving away some tickets down the stretch here. Actually, maybe not, because the Phillies only have 6 home games left. They have a 2-game homestand next week, or a 2-game series against the Blue Jays before a 4-game set with the Braves for a 6-game homestand. So, probably not going to do any more tickets. Maybe I'll give away my Flyers preseason tickets. Although if I did that, they'd probably boomerang them right back at me and throw them at me. But nonetheless, let's go.
If they get the answer right, they'll give you their Flyers preseason
tickets. They'll give them right back to me. But let's go out of the box here because, listen, we did the show last Thursday night after Thursday night's game, which actually just seems to be, which is actually the only game the Phillies have lost over the last week. So Murph got a ticked off sack attack last week when we recorded the show after that game, because we were coming off of that abysmal road trip through Arizona and San Francisco, which, by the way, all news coming out of San Francisco is that his players are tuning him out. They're tired of his crap. And did you see what happened with the relief pitcher the other night?
I was going to say,
they removed him from the game. That right there, listen, and from what people are saying, I said this after last season too, Buster Posey retired because of that, man.
You think so?
He retired because of Gabe Kapler.
All those rumors, there was inklings of it being true center stage the other night.
Yeah.
With that relief pitcher. That was something that's not pretty for a manager to be exposed like that on the mound.
107 wins last year. They won the NL West, which they robbed the Dodgers of winning. They had 106 wins, but then they lost in the first round of playoffs. I'll tell you what, it is an underlier. That season is the underlier. He is a 500 or below manager in all the other 4 seasons that he has managed in the big leagues outside of last season. That guy is a fluke. He is a fraud, but I will digress. I will try and get away from talking about the Gabe Kapler because I know Murph would probably be rolling his eyes right now if I was trashing him on the air. But the Phillies have righted the ship because that game that they lost last week is the only one that they've lost over the course of the last 8 games now. 7-1 in that stretch. They're on a 5-game winning streak. As of this recording, we don't know what it holds for Thursday night. They are now 2.5 games up on the San Diego Padres for the second wild card spot, and 4.5 up on the Brewers overall in the wild card standings. 5.5 since they have the tiebreaker against them. Mm-hmm. Now, barring what happens on Thursday night, the Padres are playing against the Diamondbacks. The Brewers are off on Thursday. They're about to start a 3-game series against the Yankees this weekend. Adam Gilmore, do not let me down. Your boys better show up.
Yeah,
but this is the biggest stretch of their season this next week and a half / 7 total games with the Atlanta Braves and a 2-game set with the Toronto Blue Jays, who lead the wild card standings in the American League. They're tied with Seattle, but I mean that 4-5 matchup is going to wind up being a battle between those two.
They're equally as hungry as the Phillies are right now to set their
playoff
position. Thank you.
And they had some cushion now that they have some cushion over the Padres and the Brewers. But they can't take their foot off the gas pedal now. They need to finish this, unlike previous years where they haven't had a lead like this in any playoff race in the exact middle of September with 3 weeks left to go in the season. But they've been close enough to where they faded in those last 3 weeks. I'm telling you, this team right here, if they get in the playoffs, and I'm not even going to say if, it's more like when they get into the playoffs, and whoever they're matched up against, this isn't a team that the Atlanta Braves, the New York Mets, or even the St. Louis Cardinals that they want to see matched up with in the first round series.
You're saying the other teams don't want to be matched up with the Phillies. See, that's interesting to me. For me, the Phillies are set up that they're good enough to make the playoffs, but I just don't think they're there yet to make that step right away to win a playoff series. I think they still have some struggles in the starting rotation with their number 3 guy. I mean, Zach Wheeler. When is Zach Wheeler back, by the way?
Zach Wheeler is going to throw another bullpen. That was on the run sheet here. He threw a 30-pitch bullpen.
I didn't read it.
You didn't read it. No, he threw it. Way to get ahead of the game. Slam.
Yeah, right.
He threw a 30-pitch bullpen session on Tuesday afternoon in Miami, and we'll throw another bullpen session on Friday afternoon in Atlanta. If all goes well, we can see him return next week at home. They're saying either Tuesday or Wednesday against the Blue Jays. So it would be nice to get him a few starts. It probably gives him about 3 starts before they start the postseason on Friday, October 7th.
Okay. Yeah. And then before we get to a question here from Lou Mancini, the reason, again, I asked that because Wheeler's got to come back. He's got to look like he, doesn't have any rust to knock off. Aaron Nola, we all know how he is in September, October, although he's been pretty pleasant as of late. And then that 3 spot, Suarez has been slipping a little bit. Kyle Gibson, I don't even want to see him in a playoff series.
I know, but he pitched so well. I know it's Miami.
I know
Miami's had their offensive struggles.
The hottest pitcher has been Bailey Falton. But do you want him to go in there in a playoff series? He's obviously, not proven enough that he can carry his own into the playoffs, considering, this little run he's gone on. The offense, I would say they're dangerous enough and deep enough that they can, kind of bail out some mediocre pitching performances if it comes to that in the playoffs. But overall, I think any team they're playing still has a better starting 3 than the Phillies, and that worries me moving forward.
If you look at the Braves, who outside of Max Fried and Strider, like if you can go tick for tack with Fried and Strider.
Yeah.
Now Fried is a little bit more isolating in my opinion, because Fried comes from the left side, and Fried did it last year down the stretch. Strider, he's a rookie, and he's been phenomenal this season for the Braves, and he has every right to be their number 2 starter once they get into the postseason.
And I said unproven's on the Phillies. That's obviously an unproven on the other end.
Right, and we haven't seen that. Wheeler, I believe Wheeler has pitched in the postseason previously. I mean, he was with the Mets, and the Mets went to the World Series in 2015. I'm not sure if he was in the rotation that year or if he was hurt with Tommy John, but they've made the postseason since that point too. And then
you got 20 games left though, so it's like he's got to come back. I want him to get, he
needs to get some starts,
3 or 4 starts in before postseason.
Yeah, but you have to try and, like, the Phillies have right now, when you're in a wild card race like this, and also at the same time though, if you look at the top of the division, you look at the top of the standings, the only team that has the luxury right now to where they can really set the rotation up, and actually, you know what, the Cardinals too, because the Cardinals have a big enough cushion over the Brewers where they're going to win that division. But like the Dodgers could set up the rotation right now.
I mean, it's not even fair.
It doesn't even matter. But it's like I said over previous shows here, when you look at the Dodgers and you think about what they have, like, it's great to have the bevy of riches that they have with their starting lineup, but that bullpen is flawed. And that starting rotation, it's not Clayton Kershaw 5 years ago, and they don't have Walker Buehler. They're going to be banking on and relying on some kids that haven't been there. They haven't done that. They haven't been in the postseason. Now, say what you will about Aaron Nola, who hasn't been in the postseason, hasn't pitched there yet. But Aaron Nola has been in the game long enough. He's pitched in some Septembers and he hasn't been successel. I've elaborated
I see
on
what you're
that.
saying, though. He's been in meaningful moments down the stretch.
He has been, and so you can't really question it. Like a Tony Gonsolin and a Tyler Anderson. The guys like that pitch that are starting pitchers and have had really good years for the Dodgers. There's a big difference between doing it, from April 1 through September 30th. Once October hits, it's like Cinderella. The ball or the coach becomes the pumpkin, and you get exposed in October for what you truly are. It's all great and well and good for what you do for the 6 months of the season, but it's all about crunch time and what you do down the stretch.
And again, I'm not saying I'm writing the Phillies off as soon as they make the playoffs. I'm just being cautiously optimistic. Now I know 11 years since a playoff berth. I'm just happy to be there. But again, I'm proceeding with caution.
Were you 8 when the Phillies were last in the playoffs?
No, I was in high school. I was a junior in high school. Yeah,
you were a junior in high school.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And then so it's just I'm just trying to find that common ground where yes, their offense can win them some games in the playoffs, but I'm also going to be very cautious, moving forward, because I know their starting rotation hasn't been, as good as they've been, on some other stretches this season. So hopefully it can all come together at the end of September, and we're rolling pretty good going into October. But as I mentioned about the offense, Lou Mancini wanted to know if Derek Hall is going to get called up before the playoffs.
I highly doubt it. There was a moment in time last night where I thought it was going to happen because Rhys Hoskins was hit in the hand by another pitch.
Yep.
And when we thought, I think all Phillies fans thought that it was a Gene Segura,
Jeez.
a Bryce Harper situation. And that's a damn
Yeah.
shame, though, because Reese.
It's like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison. Write that one off the list. Just write the whole, write it off the list.
Everybody,
Yeah.
but if you think about it, though, like Reese is one of the few pieces remaining from the terrible years here. The Phillies were in the playoff push the last 4 years, 18, 19, 20, 21. They've been there in September down the stretch to have an opportunity, a chance to make the playoffs. And it would have been a damn shame for Reese not to be a part of that.
Yeah.
If something would have came of that. The good thing is the x-rays were negative. He spoke with the media today. He's out of the lineup on Thursday night. He should be back in the lineup on Friday night, or at worst, you'll see him on Saturday. So that's a good thing. But when he got hurt and as hot as Derek Hall is right now in AAA, I thought that there was an opportunity where we were going to see him down the stretch. Just put him at first base and let it ride.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, is you bring up Hall, and you want that pop off the bench. I could see him being on the postseason roster.
That's what I'm thinking.
I don't
yeah.
see them bringing him back up before then, unless they bring him up like towards the end of the season. And they have to have him on at the end of the season. And then you can kind of use him in a Matt Stairs role, like a late inning pinch hit role, but there's nowhere to put him. If Reese is playing first base and Bryce is your DH every single day, there's nowhere else to put Derek Hall.
Yeah, especially down the stretch, you're in a playoff run. You want to have your number ones out there so that they can get in that groove for the playoff run. You don't want to be platooning day in and day out. So I agree with that. I would assume he'll be on the playoff roster, but because he's definitely helped this team tremendously throughout the summer. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's going to be here before playoff time.
Now, speaking of getting some key offensive pieces back for this team, the Phillies right fielder Nick Castellanos is reported to be out of the lineup for at least another week with an oblique strain, and they're not sure if he's going to need a rehab stint before his return. I would assume he's probably going to need about a game or two. He hasn't missed as much time as Gene Segura or Bryce Harper had, but at least he could see some live pitching, some AAA pitching going down there, so he might go down there for a day or two, or it depends on who's home. If Lehigh Valley is on the road and Reading is home, they're probably going to send him down to AA for him to get some work there. He was beginning to heat up right before he got hurt, as Quimby sits down and joins us here. Quimby, how we feeling, brother?
Good. What are we talking? Flyers?
There was a Flyers preseason ticket mentioned, though.
Yeah, we had one. And actually, did you see the guy in Detroit wearing the Flyers shirt in the end zone?
No.
And it was all blue, like Lions blue behind the uprights, and then it was one random Flyers shirt. It was like, I need to know this guy.
He's traveling the country to see what you did, to sniff out which team he should be rooting for.
I'll say this about Castellanos. I know a lot of us have been disappointed with his performance this season as a Philly. Now, once the calendar, actually, I only want to give credit to the calendar turning in August. I got to give credit to my man, Jim Salisbury of NBC Sports Philadelphia for awakening.
Cut it out with that.
For awakening the dragon. But, no matter what, having him back in the lineup, it makes the bench that much stronger. It makes the bench that much better. A kid like Nick Maton goes back to the bench. And what a piece that kid has been so far this season. They call it the daycare.
Yes.
This year.
Him, Bohm, Stott.
Yeah. I mean, it's got Bailey Falter
and Bailey Falter.
Sir Anthony Dominguez. I mean, like all these kids, for as much the much maligned Phillies minor league system and what they've given us this year. I mean, Bohm's batting close to 300. Bryson Stott, he's worked his way back up in his batting average, 235, but he's been hot since June 1st. And he's played a really strong shortstop and second base right before Gene Segura came back. And then, Nick Maton, he's the only player in Major League Baseball this year to hit multiple home runs against the National League Cy Young favorite, Sandy Alcantara. It's just unbelievable what he's done. He won them that game the other night. Bailey Falter kept them in the game, and then he came up and he hit that big home run to put them ahead. Bailey Falter, winner of 4 of his last 5 starts. And he's been clutch. I think the Phillies are 13-2 in games that he's pitched in this season. It's been remarkable what Bailey Falter has done for this team.
They got Sandy's number, and they got
best hair in baseball.
Josh Hader's number. So two who were good pitchers, then the Phillies broke Josh Hader.
Yeah, Josh Hader might be broke forever.
He was broken forever.
And you could thank Alec Boehm and Matt Bierling for that. Let's go to a break here. But before we do, let's talk about our good friends over here at Premier Window Cleaning, which is the leading window cleaning company in Philadelphia and the surrounding areas. They have over 30 years experience. They offer commercial and residential window cleaning, pressure washing, parking garage cleaning, graffiti removal, post-construction cleaning. Every employee is trained, certified, and goes through an extensive background check. At Premier Window Cleaning, your satisfaction level needs to be 100%, as no job is complete until you're happy. With clients like Lincoln Financial Field, Comcast, Chop Roberts, and University of Pennsylvania, you cannot go wrong. For more information and a full list of services, give them a call at 267-534-5198. That's 267-534-5198. Or head to their website, WeHateDirtyWindows.com. That's WeHateDirtyWindows.com. And you can bet your ass that come hell or high water on Monday night before Monday Night Football, those windows are going to look fantastic at the link as we head in for the Eagles and Vikings that evening to slay down Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. But coming up in our second segment, we're going to talk more Phillies baseball because we haven't touched on Sir Anything Dominguez return, Zach Eflin, JT Realmuto.
What was that first
MVP.
one? Because that kind of sounded like all one word.
Is there having in the
Sir
business?
Anthony
get that?
Dominguez?
Yeah.
I need to have a drink.
It is a mouthful, though.
It is.
Giggy.
Right here, 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. Bud Light Baseball Brunch. We'll be right back right after this.
I forgot to tell you.
All right, welcome back here on Bud Light Baseball Brunch, 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler for our second segment here on this Friday evening with the happy hour. It's no longer brunch, it's happy hour now. Bud Light Baseball Brunch / happy hour. Ludlam Bar and Grill remains open, and it will be through the rest of the year and through into next year as they continue the renovations over there. It's going to look awesome, Quimby, when they get that together over there.
Agreed.
It was a phenomenal time that we had down there on July 23rd. Fantastic location over there in Sea Isle City, 4000 Landis Avenue. Yes, it's the old La Costa, and the complete renovation finished. For now, you will now see a brand new look, feel, and vibe set amongst a casually sophisticated bar, a cozy a la carte dining room, and the only mellow lounge in Townsend Inlet. The menu is seasonal, offering the freshest local seafood, cooked simple to ensure the flavor that already exists stays that way. The hotel is open year-round, and all guests enjoy free Wi-Fi, one free parking spot per room, and complimentary beach tags for all registered adults. Walking distance to everything. Check out ludlamhotel.com. That's Ludlam, Ludlam, hotel.com, or call them at 609-263-7829. That's 609-263-7829 for all your reservation, dining, or entertainment questions. The Ludlam Bar and Grill and Hotel, your new oasis in Sea Isle City. All right, so let's dive in here. Let's talk a little bit more Phillies baseball before we look at the playoff picture in Major League Baseball, which isn't that enticing. It's not really that exciting this season. It seems like everything with a few weeks to go is pretty much wrapped up. I mean,
well, the AL wild cards, you have your teams pretty much figured out.
Yeah.
You just got to figure out which order it's going to be.
Yeah, the spots need to kind of be determined with that, but everything, like every week. Every week, it looks like Major League Baseball puts out the bracket, and they're like, "Oh, was your team in the playoffs?" And it's like it's the same thing every single week. But we'll see if anything changes, and we'll dive a little bit into that here.
Like the NFL machine for that. I do like the NFL machine, playoff machine.
Yeah,
where you can punch in all the different possibilities for wins and losses and see where you can come up. I mean, it's obviously something that's easier when you have the least or less amount of games you do in the NFL than you do in Major League Baseball. But there should be a way to say, hey, can you win the series? This is what it'll look like. That kind of.
I really like, to be honest with you, that would be really cool. But the thing is right now, you don't even know what the pitching matchups are in those series. Like the Phillies, who's their number 3 starter going into that?
Yeah, there's so many moving parts.
Yeah, I mean, how many moving pieces?
How's Eflin's knee?
Eflin's going to be pitching out of the bullpen the rest of the season. So he pitched in the 8th inning last night. His fastball was right around 94 miles per hour. So which is actually an uptick on what he's been pitching in the starting rotation. It's about a mile and a half more on his fastball.
Yeah, we don't need him in the bullpen.
Nah,
well, actually, come playoff
they
time,
can't stretch him out.
If you have that third starter, game 3, you can kind of do like a combo there. If you start like a Bailey Falter or Ranger Suarez, you can have Eflin on the back burner to come in and long relieve.
Well, that's also the perks and the benefits, though, of the way the Phillies have the rotation going in.
That's what I mean,
and the way that the bullpen's been performing, especially like. It felt like once Sir Anthony went down, we all kind of said like, okay, cool. Like give him a couple weeks off, let him reset, let him get himself together. When he's ready to come back, we'll gladly take him. But I thought I think everybody thought that the back end of the bullpen would be okay until he returned. They put a lot on David Robertson in that stretch. And I think he kind of burned himself out. Now that Sir Anthony is back.
It definitely showed like he burned himself out.
Yeah. And, if you look at the bullpen now, they're back into their roles. And the way that, he has everything lined up right now, I think he's kind of trying to take the pressure off as he's ramping Sir Anthony back up, putting him in the 8th inning and allow Robinson still pitch and close in the 9th inning. And he's done well. He's done well over the last week since Sir Anthony has returned. And then Jose Alvarado has been one of the best bullpen arms in the game, not just in the Phillies bullpen, in the game.
I know.
The guy couldn't hit the strike zone at all, and then he goes down to AAA, and someone's like, "Hey, why don't you throw a cutter?" I want to kind of.
He's tried though.
Discovered a brand new pitch.
No, but
he's tried though. I think he's starting to perfect it more now. But
no, his cutter. No, that's why he's doing what he's doing now. And listen, if you could throw a cutter and you can throw it at 102. Like he can, and now he knows how to. Now he could spot it. But if you look at the bullpen as a whole, like you don't need to ask. Like, yeah, ideally you want Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola to give you 6, 7, 8 innings in a playoff game.
In a playoff game, I want 7.
But you can shorten it now. You shorten games, knowing like they can. It's kind of like last year when Corbin Burns won the Cy Young and he threw 50 less innings than Zach Wheeler did. Well. Listen, you could have all those strikeout numbers, and you can all he had to do was throw 5 innings.
Yeah,
and then his bullpen was so good that it gave him wins. It's kind of that way right now with how the Phillies bullpen has been lined up.
Last year you had pre-Alec Boehm, Josh Hader, so on the back end, so that's what helped them a lot.
No doubt about it. But I'll tell you what, for as much as we talk about this team, it's hard to say where this team would be since Bryce Harper's injury back at the end of June. Without JT Realmuto. This guy, if you look at his numbers through the first half, this is through the first half. This is up until the All-Star break here, okay? So he appeared in 79 games in the first half of the season. He had 72 hits, 14 doubles, 2 triples, 8 homers, 38 RBI, a 252 batting average, which seems a little high if you're looking at the beginning of the season for me.
Well, you have high expectations for him too.
But only a 722 OPS. 42 games appeared in through the second half of the season. 48 hits, 9 doubles, 3 triples, 10 home runs, 39 RBI. That is in 30 less games. 30 less games, then 37 less games, 320 batting average, and a 970 OPS. That right there. And he's 17 for 17 this season in stealing bases. Best percentage for any catcher this year in throwing out base stealers. He's going to win the Gold Glove for catchers this year in the National League.
Oh, no doubt about it.
Team MVP, if you ask me, this season for the Phillies. He's shown up. He has appeared in 120 plus games this season for the Phillies as a catcher. Outside of Rhys Hoskins, I think that's more than anybody else.
And when you look at it, we were on his case early in the year. This could wind up being one of his best seasons of his career.
Yeah.
When you think about it, I mean, you can go back and look, they're all kind of like in the same ballpark, but his efficiency down the stretch has been unbelievable.
I saw a stat the other day that he could possibly become the first catcher since actually he would become the second catcher ever, along with Pudge Rodriguez, to slug 20 home runs and steal 20 bases in a season.
I was going to say, I didn't even know the 17 stolen base part. I mean,
17 for 17.
Woo.
He hasn't been thrown out. And that's a catcher.
He set his own record last year with 13. He had 12 back in 2016. Other than that, he's never had double digits, and he's about to hit 20 this year.
It's incredible what JT Realmuto has done this season, and I think he is
after the way he started as well.
Yeah,
it's horrible how he started.
Yeah, that was a lot of the guys though.
We thought we wore him out.
Yeah,
we were like, he's played so much. He played 134 games beyond the plate last year. You had Stubbs behind him, but Stubbs is young.
He's a good role player.
He's a good role player.
Yeah.
He's no Andrew Knapp.
No.
But still, I mean, you look at our backup catchers. They're what you expect them to be.
They're supposed to be cheap and disposable.
Yeah. So you have Stubbs come in here. You still expect JT Realmuto to play 130 to 150 games, and he's done that. I thought maybe in his 10th season he'd be starting to be burnt out, but he's got something on the back burner because he's been hot.
Yeah. And it's promising too, because he still has 3 years left on that contract.
Let's go.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to see the resurgence out of him, especially in that lineup. Now, when, not if, this team makes the playoffs, where would you want to see them open up that wild card weekend in a best of 3 series? All 3 games are on the road. If they stay in the second wild card spot right now, they're going to get the runner-up in the National League East. They're going to get the Mets or they're going to get the Braves. Now, me and Quimby were talking earlier, and we were just shooting shop about baseball and whatnot.
I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah, I wasn't going to curse. I was like,
shooting shop.
I was ready.
Shop. But but if you look at it though, he was surprised that Atlanta caught them. I'm like, well, when you win 14 in a row and then you win like another 10 in a row, and then recently they won 8 in a row, and the way the Mets have played down the stretch here, losing the first 2 games in that series against the Cubs, right now, ideally, if you stay in that second wild card spot, you're gonna get one of those 2. If you wind up faltering a little bit, and not Bailey faltering, if you falter a little bit and you fall back into that third and final wild card spot, you're gonna get the St. Louis Cardinals. Who would you look at as being the guy or being the team that you want to face in that opening round matchup?
Man, I'm going to lean Atlanta, but I think...
So you want the defending World Series champions?
Man, it's tough because they're... we're going to get more of an answer, down this stretch since we got, 7 games coming up against them. I think that's going to be more telling. It's between Atlanta and St. Louis for me. I might go St. Louis, but we know how deadly they've been in the postseason down the stretch in the last 10, 15 years.
And you would need to fall back a little bit too.
Yeah, true. I don't want that to happen, but I'm going to go with Atlanta because I really, and I know I talked to you about this between Mets versus Dodgers, who you want to see in the LCS. I don't want to face Scherzer and DeGrom in the postseason.
I just don't know what the health situation is with Scherzer right now. Scherzer went back on the injured list.
Yeah, but but he never seems to skip a beat when he comes back.
Yeah, but then
he's a freak.
If you look at the last couple Octobers, though, he has not been like 2019. He couldn't pitch in Game 6 or Game 7. I think they pitching. No, I think Strasburg pitched in Game 7, and that's why he won the. It was one or the other. He couldn't pitch because he had that dead arm. And then he had that.
Which year was that?
And then he had it last year with the Dodgers, and they're down 3-1 in the series, and they're like, "Oh well, we got to pitch Walker Buehler on short rest because of that." I've kind of come back down. Listen, I want me and my wife are going to be wherever they are.
My wife and
that day. Yes, my wife and I.
Yes.
We're going to be wherever they are at on October 7th, whether it's in New York, whether it's in Atlanta, whether it's in St. Louis, we will be there for it.
Well, Irv just vacationed in Atlanta, so
Yeah, who the hell vacations in Atlanta?
exactly. He just whispered he did not vacation in Atlanta.
No, but if I'm looking at it, ideally I would love to go to St. Louis because I've never been there. Atlanta.
Oh, between those three,
yeah. Southern.
even if I have been there, I think that's the clear choice of where you want to be.
Southern hospitality down in Atlanta. Those people are really nice, and I like the ballpark. Truist Park is a top 10 ballpark that I've been to in my life, and I've been to 21 of them. I really enjoy going there. But Citi Field is like the one spot I don't want to go. I will be there. I will be there regardless.
Yeah.
I do not feel like going in that hostile territory with those jort wearing, white t-shirt, white beater, wearing clowns that they have up there in that ballpark. Nonetheless, I will be there for it. I'm going to take it back though. I don't want the Mets, but the Braves, I've said all along, if you look over the last 21 years of Major League Baseball, there's been one team to win the World Series and get back to defend it the following year in the World Series. It's the 2008-2009 Phillies. No other team since the Yankees, when they went 98, 99, 2000, 2001, no other team has gotten back there other than the Phillies. And I said all season long, especially since they started to pick things up with the Braves and them getting hot in June, like we got hot in June, that team scares me. That they can, when they get into the playoffs, they're going to turn it up a notch all over again.
Exactly.
And that's why I think they're going to wind up winning that division. They've been there. They've done that. The Mets, this team as a whole, they haven't done that. They have two guys at the head of the rotation, and DeGrom and Scherzer. DeGrom pitched in the World Series in 2015. Scherzer's been he's on his way to the Hall of Fame, bona fide, first ballot all day long, 3-time Cy Young winner. He's going to go to He's been to the World Series a couple times, once with Detroit, once with the Nationals. He's been there, done that. But, and I hate Diaz in the ninth inning. I hate Diaz. I hate this Diaz too. But
in all 9 innings.
Is there any Diaz that you do like?
I'll get back to you on that. Yeah.
Edwin Diaz, probably the best closer in the game this season. Did you feel like dealing with that when you're trying to come back in the ninth inning as compared to a Kenley Jansen? And I think there's some holes there in the Braves bullpen, especially in the back end. Giggity for sure. But I'm hard pressed to try and figure out which one I want.
It's pick your poison. I mean,
it's going to be tough.
I go back to St. Louis the last 10, 15 years, have ramped it up. In down the stretch. Atlanta's done that the last couple seasons. Last year,
5 times in a row. I think they've won the division.
Yeah, but I don't want to play St. Louis. I just really don't. They just have that.
Don't we owe them one from about 11 years ago?
Yes, they just amp it up down the stretch. They still have Wainwright, who's still, talk about bona fide Hall of Famers. He's still pitching on a high enough level that he can be effective. I'm still going to go with Atlanta. I will go with Atlanta. And again, we will have our answer, more clear as they play 7 against them coming up.
Absolutely. Grimly.
We got a live read coming up. We taking a break soon?
No, you could do one right now.
I'm going to do it right now. Green Legion, everybody, greenlegion.com. Make sure you sign up for Monday night's home opener against the Kirk Cousins-led Minnesota Vikings. By the way, make sure you check out Green Legion Radio Show tomorrow from 12 midnight to 2 a.m. When the hell are we running that show?
We're hoping it's 7 to 9.
7 to 9.
After the Union game.
We're going to make a whole lot of fun of Ron Jaworski because Ron Jaworski deserves to be made fun of as often as possible. I have some quotes from him from the NBC Sports.
He's the old Philadelphia Soul owner, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what he's known for.
Anyway, make sure you get the Green Legion.
Either.
Make sure no, he doesn't know how to run a golf course either. Make sure you get the greenlegion.com and get signed up for any tailgate, especially this one on Monday night. We have the Cowboys coming up. We have Jacksonville. You guys, we're probably literally 3 or 4 days away from selling out Arizona and the tailgate. If you want to be a part of that, get off your ass and do it now. Our limit is 1,200. We have eclipsed 1,000, and we cannot go over 1,200 because neither the owner of Salt or myself feels comfortable with having a party like they had with North Carolina with 15 or 1,600 people in a little bit more aligned situation. We don't want any lines. We want you to have everything acceptable or accessible easily, both alcohol and food. So if you want to get signed up, you've been warned. Don't bitch when you go, oh, I waited too long. All right.
We all sold out in DC now too.
We are now officially sold out of DC as well. So there's nothing going on there. There's nothing we can do. Check out our friends at phillysportstrips.com if you want to hook up with them for their tailgate. I think they're sold out as well. It's okay. We have an understanding. We're good. And well, you know what? I've been very territorial with this for a long time, but Vince does a good job with what he does. People like his product. He's got a little younger crowd than we do now, and that's okay. My crowd doesn't want to go down at 6:30 in the morning, and
we've been there. We've done that.
We've filled up the tanks before the ride home, and saw what was that? Saw what that smelled like on the bus for the next 2.5 hours. But you guys check them out, and don't complain about Arizona if it's sold out when you get to it. That's all I got.
All right, and we're going to head into our last segment here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. Bud Light Baseball Brunch. We'll be right back after these messages. I'll bring us back in. All right, welcome back on this Friday night here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler. Final segment here on Bud Light Baseball Brunch. Murph, we're thinking about you. We got prayers up for you as well. I hope everything's going well with you, brother. And we look forward to hopefully having you back on the show next week, recording with me. But first, I'd like to kick it over to Quimby. Also,
multiple prayers to our friends and family of the Green Legion, DeShante Cuba and Antonio Williams. Their nephew was killed in L.A. Earlier this week, and we just want to say we love you guys, and you can always lean on us at any point in time. We got your back always, and every time. We know it's a difficult period in your life, and we know Antonio made it very clear how upset he was, and he should be. So we love you guys, and we're here for you.
Antonio is a great dude. I always love him when he goes, "He stinks!" Like it's a Green Legion staple. Yep. Whenever you hear Antonio say that, thoughts and prayers go out to you guys for sure. Listen, let's dive in here. I have some picks. Murph isn't here, and listen, I can't sit here and claim these picks a part of my standings because back at the beginning of the season when Murph missed some time, Murph wouldn't allow me to keep those numbers to up my win percentage.
And I'm not going to try and right the ship for him.
I know.
I'm leaning on you.
I know. Listen, it's hard to look ahead when we're recording on Thursday night, and I don't know what the lineups look like heading into a Friday night game. I'm just looking at starting pitchers. But Murph went 2-1 last week. The sad part for him,
Okay, I will pick for him. No, I'm just kidding.
no, he's still terrible this year.
Okay.
He got 1.5 points last week. You want to know how he got 1.5 points? Because he didn't know what the Phillies line was against the Nationals on Friday night. So he took the Phillies as his favorite, and they were minus 225. So anything over 200, minus 200 is a half point. So he's 26-31 on the season, 31.5 points scored. I went 2-1 last week, but 3 points thanks to the underdog Cubbies taking down the Gabe Kaplers of San Francisco. And I'm now 32-25 on the season / with 42 points. I think I've got this in the bag with a couple weeks left in the season for sure.
Good work by you.
Yeah. So listen, here what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys my favorite, my underdog, and my over-under for Friday night's action. I'm going to take the White Sox at minus 155. They're in Detroit. Lucas Giolito versus Matt Manning. The White Sox, to me, they're still alive in the playoff race, but I think they're dead ducks because the Guardians or the Indians or the Windians, whatever you want to call them these days, they're a hot team right now. That's a scary team too if they get into the playoffs because Terry Francona has been there, he's done that, and he knows what he has to do when it comes to October. They're in Detroit. Detroit is a terrible baseball team. This is a great number to grab White Sox at minus 155. My underdog. And I'm taking this kind of for selfish reasons, but also at the same time, they're playing at home. And when the Diamondbacks play at home in that doldrum of a ballpark that they have, they perform pretty well. We saw that a couple weeks ago, when the Phillies were there. I'm going to take them at plus 150 hosting the Padres. This is a 4-game set. I don't know what the results are for Thursday night's game is, but I'm going to take them. They have Madison Bumgarner on the hill against Blake Snell. I'm risking my life, bro.
I always forget about that.
I hate that clown. But Madison Bumgarner.
Oh, jeez.
Hey, man, he makes it look good, though.
He needs a higher production team over there.
So the White Sox minus 155, the Diamondbacks at plus 150, and I'm going to go with the under 9 at Fenway Park plus 100. Yeah, under 9. The Kansas City Royals and the Boston Red Sox at Fenway Park. Jonathan Heasley, yes, 3-8 this year, 5.51 ERA, but that's a high line.
That answers my question.
That's a high line, though, when Michael Wacha is pitching.
Hey, man, we're talking baseball, not high line.
Ooh, Wacha. 11-1 with a 2.69 ERA. That I'm going to take an under 9 on that. I think the Red Sox will score. The Royals won't against Wacha, and you can take that to the bank. So those are my 3 picks for this upcoming Friday night's action. Also, can you believe it? Now I'm going to miss the sounder pretty much for the rest of the season. It's one of my favorite staples of the program.
Make it up with something mind-blowing.
Love that song, but I'm going to give you guys a few of my Can You Believe It before we wrap up the program, especially because I don't have Murph here with me to do so. Adam Wainwright and Yadier Molina, they made history the other night. Their 325th start as a battery. The most common regular season starting battery since 1900. Now, this is courtesy of Sarah Langs.
Look at that forehead, everybody. Just check it.
Wainwright and Molina, 325. They surpassed Mickey Lalick and Bill Freehan, 324. Warren Spahn and Del Crandall, 316. And Red Faber and Ray Schalk had 306. What those two have done during the course of their careers. And listen, I hate the St. Louis Cardinals. I hate them for 11 years ago. They can kiss my pale white ass all day long for the 2011 season and for ending it and making sure we didn't win another World Series in that stretch.
It wasn't their fault. It was ours.
But you have to show respect to 2 legends of the game, Yadier Molina and Adam Wainwright. Wainwright is always a personal favorite of mine for what he did to Carlos Beltran in Game 7 of the 2006 NLCS, where he dropped that Uncle Charlie on him, and he could just sit there and just look at the pitch, and the Cardinals went to the World Series. So good for them. Julio Rodriguez, what a superstar this kid has turned out to be. What an onslaught that he put on in the home run derby in Colorado, losing in the finals to Juan Soto. He's the first player in Major League history with 25 plus home runs and 25 plus stolen bases in his first Major League season. Now, there was 2 other guys that had previously done that, but they had played parts in a season before that. One of them was Mike Trout. I forget who the other guy is on there, but I don't want to dive too much into that because Quimby doesn't like Mike Trout.
Why are you even bringing him up?
Because I felt like annoying you. And another one, just this is one for myself here. Highest run differential through first 140 games of the season since 1900. The 1939 Yankees were plus 393. The 1927 Yankees, Murderers Row, plus 342. 1902 Pirates, plus 323. And the 2022 Los Angeles Dodgers, plus 316. It's insane numbers right there. As we go ahead and we look to wrap up the program here, let's take a look at what's coming in the week ahead.
There we go, everybody. It's official. The Green Legion Radio Players Show from Live Casino. Plenty of free parking for everyone.
That's an awesome spot.
It is. It is. And they just built a brand new stage at Center Bar. That's where we will be. It's from 8 to 10. The player will be in studio or on stage at Live Casino from 8 to 9. And that is when we will kick off the show. We will be live here on Fox Sports Radio from 8 to 10. But the player will be on from 8 to 9. This first week's guest, Eagles punt returner Britton Covey, will be our first guest. And I do have some knowledge about our about one of our guests coming up over the next couple of weeks after that, and we're gonna have a packed house for that one because Mr. Nakobe Dean will be making it out within the first 3 weeks. We got Reed. We got Reed Blankenship, who's going to be coming in as well. I think that's our first 3 guests: Britton Covey, Reed Blankenship, and Nakobe Dean.
Not Rodrigo.
I was about to say he just got cut from the Indianapolis Colts.
He got booted. No pun intended.
Now. Philly Live Casino is an awesome spot. You guys got to get down there. We did 6 or 7 shows.
We will have Bud Light specials.
Yeah.
We'll have the step repeat set up. Take photos, get autographs, get everything set up. You guys tell your friends,
and if you want to
spread the word.
It's a great spot to be down there for sure. But we're looking at the week ahead here for our Fightin' Phils. This is a big week, as we discussed at the beginning of the show, finishing off their series in Miami. This is it for the Marlins for the season. The Phillies have distinguished the fish for sure. Huge 3-game set in Atlanta with the Braves. Day off on Monday, then open up the final homestand at Citizens Bank Park with 2 against the Blue Jays and then 4 against the Braves. / huge week for the Fightin' Phils.
Yeah, they can gain some ground here, or we're talking about division. They can gain some ground here. I don't.
You're
think
cute.
Yeah, you got to get through 2 teams. The division's gone.
One can dream.
No,
yeah, it is. No, but yeah, they can make some great.
Well, here's the deal. The Mets could falter like they always do.
Exactly.
But the
they've
Braves
been
are
already
not.
started. They've already started. But the Braves are too damn good. They're too good.
All right, one can dream, but seriously, they can gain some ground to get that that number 1 spot in the wild card. 7 against Atlanta. Is it going to happen? No, I don't think they're going to make significant progress. But if they can win both series, that would be tremendous.
The only way the Phillies are going to be at home on wild card weekend is if they blow it to both the Padres and the Brewers. Just get used to the simple fact that they're either going to be in St. Louis, they're going to be in Atlanta, or they're going to be in New York City.
I want to dream.
And that's it.
I'm a dreamer, Zach.
Yeah, I used to be a dreamer.
I say 7-0 against.
By
Atlanta.
the way, I mean, seriously, aren't you guys happy with all the baseball knowledge I brought to the table today?
You were
Yes.
fantastic.
Okay.
I didn't even notice that Murph wasn't here today.
Yes. Oh, I thought that was Murph.
I'm not that skinny.
And that's going to do it for us here on 102.5 Fox Sports The Gambler and Bud Light Baseball Brunch. For my whole team here, for Kyle / the Gobbler, Nonamaker, Quimby, Super Sam Brady, and Murph, still thinking about you, brother. I'm Chris Sack, and like a 3-1
Love you,
pitch
Murph.
to Ryan Howard. We are out of here, baby. Let's go, Phillies. Let's pull this home down the stretch here. And please, Yankees, handle those Brewers. Unhappy Gilmore, I'm looking at you.
You realize he was about to say, let's pull this out.
Yeah.
And he knew he didn't want another
Well,
giggity.
you were going to say giggity. Everybody,
Division.
have a great rest of your Friday evening and weekend. We'll talk to you guys next week.